I'm Sarah Russell,
I'm J.Q. Walker.
Mint, and we are
the Neurodivergent Report, a research-based podcast by and for neurodivergent brains.
In each episode, we'll explore topics relating to neurodiversity and coping strategies by reviewing the literature and discussing current topics.
We will also have interview episodes where we sit down with experts in the field and listeners like you, with the hope that together we can all learn to heal in community.
However you are able to engage, thank you for being here.
I don't know. I'm personally really interested. This is a brand new fact that I just learned that, brick buildings and stone buildings can have like connectivity issues. So you obviously are affected personally by this. And so I would love to have you like, what?
It's crazy because it's, I work on the second floor in the house. And so sometimes, depending on where I'm sitting in my office, it can connect well or it can not connect well. I usually have a lot of issues with patients when they come in to hook up to the internet.
This is like a unique situation. This is new software that we're using also, and all of those variables, all of those changes have effects. So yes, definitely like working from home is not without its complications.
Absolutely.
This is so interesting. I think I'm going to take this conversation to people who know more about internet than me, because I sent a quick little text message and the person was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm just sitting here like, it does?
Well, it seems like even though we have this great internet, it doesn't travel so well through stone.
Exactly. So it's a really big issue for the future and for accessibility, for new infrastructure. Yeah, there are some research studies on like design of the future and like accessibility around like light bulbs and making sure that things aren't like too noisy.
Yeah, I think it's great to, in my opinion, to have a space where maybe we won't get internet and we could be free for X amount of time.
A lead box. No.
Yeah, exactly. That could be very, rejuvenating for some.
Hello, I'm Sarah Russell, the host of the Neurodivergent Report, and today I am here with Patty McCallister. Patty works with young adult neurodivergence as a counselor and autism coach. She went back to school to better support the neurodivergent kids and young people in her life, primarily her son. And we're definitely going to talk about sort of that conversation some more. But Patty, thank you so much for being here.
Sarah, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation. It's very close to my heart. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I love being a platform for people to share what is important to them. Yeah, especially in this space, of course.
Yes.
So I think my introduction to you was super brief. It's like, here, how can I sum up a person in like the smallest amount of time? But, who are you? Yeah. What is an autism coach? I mean, I know, but like from your perspective, who are you as an autism coach?
Well, I guess I go back to answer the first question of who am I? So I am a person who is passionate about what I do. And so part of that passion over the course of my life experiences has been an introduction to the neurodivergent communities, specifically autism, through the gift of my son, who, came along and knowing nothing about autism other than the stereotypes you see from TV. And back in the day, the only stereotype we had was Rain Man. So it was very educational. And, over the course of that, kind of following the path of what it's like to be neurodivergent and navigating the world, as a small child, and then going into the school system, which is absolutely huge. That's 12 years of our life. Being able to figure that out, right? And then being able to, after you're done with that, say, okay, what happens next? And who's there to provide supports? Because it's really it's a community thing. I'm only one person and I do what I can. We need a community to do many things. And so that's part of the reason I kind of went into mental health counseling as a second career, actually. So finding that path was thanks to my son. And then from there, not only addressing the mental health that I saw was a huge issue, but then also moving into coaching. So coaching, actually called the LifeMap coach, and it's from a group in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
Autism Neurodivergent Network, I believe they're called now. The acronym is AANE,
Mm-hmm.
and so what they do is they basically do a pretty intensive training on how do you coach somebody on the spectrum and helping them meet their goals or figure out what is a goal and how to become the best possible person that they choose or want to be, and just finding how do you support that. And so that's you know I wanted to enhance what I do as a counselor into the coaching. And so I actually went to Boston to take the training when I um, found it through my son, which is very interesting because he found it during
Yes.
COVID. And so when he had no supports and was not being able to connect socially, he went on the internet and
Looking.
found them and participated in the groups that they were offering online. And it was like, wow, this is a pretty cool thing. And he found it and he likes it. Like, wow, okay, what are they all about? And, when I went on their website, they were like, oh, we have coaches throughout, internationally, which was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. And so then it just spoke to me of quality. Like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
doing an international program, then, that speaks to me that you have quality work. And, I signed up. It was a process. It wasn't like a training. We think of trainings
No,
and
it's not like you show up for 4 hours and then you get a certificate.
exactly.
Yeah, no, people are totally misinformed about like life coaching or, ADHD coaching or whatever. But I'm
Right.
glad that you highlighted that. I
Yeah.
mean, gosh, some people go for months
Hmm.
through training. Some people go for years through training. I think it just depends on what their starting point is with like the mental health knowledge and like how much
Right.
they already know. Yeah.
Right, and what I really liked is it was intense, like, I had filled this application, and I had to give
Mm.
references, and I had to be interviewed, and, it was like, they're serious about what they do when they do the training, and it's like, "We'll give you the technical aspect of it. If you wanna make a business out of it, then, that's where it's like, you take it. Like, here's the essentials. If you wanna build something off of it, that's up to you to do."
Hmm.
Because they have coaches who work for them, but then a lot of it is a huge network of like these independent people who are just, people in the communities who are wanting to give back.
Following that philosophy, that sort of like school of thought.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And wanting to keep connected. That sounds awesome, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's good because they have a group. They make a point to do
Hmm.
like workshops and provide support to coaches on a regular monthly basis, which is absolutely amazing.
Yes, sort of like how teachers have that continuous training,
Yes.
and like they have like weekly grade meetings where they all sort of check in with each other. And I think that mental health professionals especially need that.
Well, interesting that you say mental health professionals because I haven't found that in the mental health field, but I do find it in the coaching. So, like, you know, there's the point to remember that coaching and counseling are different. Coaching is about
Yeah.
goals and working on the current situations. Counseling is about, past mental health management, that kind of thing. So, in that mental health community, again, that's
Yeah,
part of
I
why I do what I
suppose
do.
that's different and
It
more if
is.
you have like an agency that you're
Correct.
with.
Correct.
Yeah, I guess. I'm
And when
sure
you
there are like small insular communities for those people, but I'm sure it's not as standard that it should be. Interesting.
and especially
Thank
when
you
you
again for that distinction, though, because coaching and counseling
right.
is not the same work, although both types of practitioners do deserve the community and the support and the,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. Hmm.
So that's
All right. I'm not going to
long answer.
spiral.
Okay. Long answer to a short question.
No, it's great because you touched on so many other questions, like why you do this work. It's your son.
Mhm.
And partly you've allowed him to guide you in that learning process. Um,
Yes.
I love how much I learn from my children, about how much
Yes.
I learn about myself
Exactly.
from
Exactly.
my children. Yeah, they
Yes.
really become well, for me, they become a mirror, but I think how would that be different for someone in like an adopted family situation?
I mean, as far as I don't
Like,
think it's
so like when I am so when my oldest went through kindergarten and even all of the grades, like the reports and things, it's the same feedback that I received. And he struggles with the same things that I struggled with in school. The word problems and the percentages, and obviously that's different. I think it's a little bit different, that process, when your child doesn't share your genetics.
sure. I think too, it's also when
Is there still like that learning process?
there
That sort of
is.
reflective. Yeah, talk about that. I'm curious.
No, you're right. There is because, genetically, like if, many parents that have children who are neurodivergent does not necessarily mean they're neurodivergent as well, adopted or
Mhm.
non-adopted. And I think either way, it's one, it is a learning curve no matter what.
Mhm.
And two, it's also part of a grieving process because, at that point you're realizing things are going to be different,
Mhm.
right? It's not going to be the neurotypical uh, growth, and this is how we
It's like the
develop.
grieving of control, almost like, "Ooh, I was expecting this and now I have no idea
Yes,
what to expect.
yes. It's
And I
it's
just
the
have to hope for
ideal,
the best."
right? It's the ideal that you're grieving the loss of. The ideal of like, oh,
Sure.
go to school,
Mhm.
graduate, go to college, get a good job, get married, have 3.2 kids, whatever it might be. It's not quite going to go like that. And for parents, it's a real struggle. They can go through a lot of denial for a long period of time. And I think that sometimes what leads to young adults now being diagnosed because parents were in denial back then. And they're like, no, this is not how it is. They don't have the education.
Mhm. Yeah, gosh, so many factors. Yeah, not having the education being a really big one. I think the stereotypes of the disorders
Yes.
also being really harmful. People just don't want to identify with a disability. And when you have to come to terms with like, oh, my kid is autistic, I mean, 50% of those parents are going to also be autistic.
Right. There's going to be a population that it is, genetic in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and so for those parents who maybe went their whole lives without like acknowledging that, there's a lot of resistance.
Right.
I really love the concept of ambiguous loss here for this whole conversation.
Yes.
Um yeah, it's sort of like, yeah, no one died, but there's still a loss. And so the grieving process is still happening, the bargaining, the
Right.
anger, denial, depression, eventual acceptance.
Right. Right. Hopefully acceptance eventually.
If you find your village, I think you're much more likely to reach that place of acceptance because you are able to be in community with people who are like excited to see you despite the fact that you're neurodivergent, or have
Right.
neurodivergent kids, or like have your own needs
Right.
and you're not
Exactly.
afraid to voice them.
Right.
Anyway,
We're a
amazing.
lot about, when I think somebody gets that information that there's somebody who's neurodivergent or has a disability, right? We're a focus on what's wrong with people. We focus on the negatives, the weakness, and very much looking to find a way to shift our minds to see, no, let's look at the strengths,
Mhm.
right? Look at the strengths and then you support what their needs are in the other areas.
Right.
But when the conversation starts out as, well, you can't do that and you're not good at that, that doesn't that doesn't help.
Well, then I can't do anything. No
Right,
movement
exactly.
is found in the can't.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. I think that we've naturally segued into the spirituality part of this conversation because all too often that, like, I don't know, I think that spiritual need is left out of our care plans.
Yes.
And so I'm super curious what that means to you. Like, how do you help support the spirituality of neurodivergence?
So, part of my work in my travels, I encountered working with an individual who is an intuitive artist and a soul coach. And in our conversations, telling her what I do and the population I work with, and then themselves having some experience with neurodivergency, it became a conversation of, how can we support them in ways where they can feel expressive and creative and be who they are without judgment. And art, is a tool that a lot of individuals connect to naturally, especially in my work with neurodivergency. A lot of neurodivergent individuals connect somehow to some form of art. And so together we created this course, this offering that we do of the art of neurodivergence. So, Sophie Mashad is the person I work with as a intuitive artist, provides prompting, right? Prompting for thoughts and expression of feelings. And when we think of neurodivergent individuals, especially autism, it's like, you have no emotions. This idea like there are no emotions. You don't, you're emotionless. And that's so far from the truth. It's
Yeah.
allowing them to provide the expression of it. And how do I express myself? And can I express myself in a way that, people understand me and people see me? And so we created these classes that allow individuals to come in to make that connection, to even work, kind of twofold because it works in helping to ground them,
Mhm.
right? Being able to do some exercises in the course of that to kind of calm their nervous system and allow them to be able to just create whatever it is that they need to create for themselves in the area of feeling
Mm.
accepted, or how do I trust? What does trust look like for me? And being able to tune into that. And it speaks to soul, it speaks to spirituality, it speaks to, we're all very unique individuals and we're all entitled to express and be who we are.
Yeah. Intuitive art to me sounds very much like expressive dancing, interpretive
Yeah.
dance, sort of
Yeah.
like.
That
Is
sounds,
that
yes. Yes. It's along the lines because it's about
totally?
creativity. Yeah. And dance.
I learned about like bilateral drawing recently, where you
Okay.
just sort of like do crazy stuff with both hands. And I
Mhm.
guess like if you're engaging both sides of your body at the same time, then that's also engaging both sides of your brain at the same time, like in a really rudimentary way.
Mhm.
But that helps get them both like back on track, like on the same rhythm. And it's
Right.
that dysregulation that becomes like displays as behaviors, like problems. But
Right.
it's really just like, yeah, what we're not seeing is that the brain's not talking to each other, right? We're
Right.
just seeing like, I don't know, a troubling target behavior. Love that
Exactly.
phrasing.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Sometimes I get really overly clinical because it helps me like separate myself from like the inhumanity of research and
Yeah.
medicine
No,
sometimes.
no worries. I totally understand that. And, to your point about the dance, it's again, it's a way to dance the movement, the creation, right? Is a way to connect to your soul. And again, expecting that everybody has that right to express from their soul who they are.
That makes sense why earlier when I was like, sorry, I'm being authentic. And you're like, nope, that's good. I think that now it's clicking. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. Awesome. Okay. Let's talk about calm space.
Okay.
Since I mentioned bilateral stimulation, is calm space part of that?
So, in work with individuals that I do, no matter who they are, neurodivergent or otherwise, because I do work
Mhm.
as a clinician that, I work with individuals who are anxious, who have trauma, depression, and, a skill that often we go to is this sense of like a calm place, a safe place, right?
Mhm.
Where, you focus in on the senses of being present to that space. What do you see? What are all the things around you can hear, you can smell, you can taste? And using tapping, for a better word, so the bilateral stimulation back and forth,
Mhm.
right, to be able to connect to that, and to really like embody the feeling of what is that like to be there. And even in our art class, Sophie does work as a shamanic practitioner, and she's utilized the drum. She's drummed for the class to, again, that rhythmic sound to be able to help you calm and to go deeper inside.
I love that because there is research about tempo helping to
Yes.
regulate like time perception.
Hmm.
Amazing. And so, yeah, it definitely, sound, music definitely has like noticeable physical, somatic effects on the body.
Like,
Yeah. And so sometimes, I feel like sometimes these coping strategies are just like putting on a band-aid. Like, yes, eventually it does get easier to reach for those tools and to access them and things.
Right.
But like when the material conditions of your life don't change despite being regulated and like being in
Mhm,
control of your emotions, like
mhm.
you're still gonna be upset about those things, you know?
Sure.
Coping doesn't mean you don't get upset about injustice,
Oh,
and I just
right.
felt like I needed to say that. Not for you.
Oh, no, no, I get it. Yeah, by all means, yeah, definitely,
Yeah, we sometimes
definitely.
we need to be given permission.
Right, right, and I think the importance to note on that is there's a time and a place to dysregulate, and being conscious of where it is we're doing that out of respect, not always even for the other individuals and people you're around, but for yourself, right? Respecting
Right.
your
What are the
expression.
consequences?
Right. And your expression, right? You're free to express it how you express it. And, being in a position where you respect you and your ability to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think recognizing why you have emotions doesn't get you off the hook for like how you respond or react to those emotions.
Right.
It's sort of like the first step of the process. There's like growing spurts to this stuff, to this like
Oh,
healing work, you know,
oh,
but
absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
unpredictable and it's different for everybody. And so it was really hard for me to say that. That made sense.
And I
Yeah.
think it ties in if I can tie that into the fact of when you think of neurodivergency, it is really, you can't say everybody's neurodivergent does X, Y, and Z. It's very much a
Right.
one person, one thing, one way, and
Yeah.
respect to
It's like
that.
this nervous system does this.
Right. Right. We put it in a category, we put it in the spectrum of neurodivergency, but every neurodivergent is different. So
Yeah.
you meet one, and one heals at one rate compared to the other person.
Right. And I think that we can magnify that healing rate for all of us if we just all like seek community in each other. But
Yes,
again, we're not all the same. So we can't all flock to the same communities, you know, and
exactly.
we all need to learn how to communicate with each other because we do all have different communication styles still.
Right.
I also just wanted to mention that I'm a sociology person. And so in my theory class in school, there was this essay called Social Objectivity and the Normal Type. And
Okay.
it's basically just like there is no true normal. It's a type, it's like a mythological, it's like a social construct.
Hmm.
And so I don't know, I just love that we're using the term neurodivergent now because it just means that, like, you're different. I think we're all different. We're all diverse.
Exactly.
It would be accurate to say we're all neurodiverse.
Exactly.
So,
Yes, I
I don't
totally
know.
agree.
I like how it's bringing us all back together, I think. I
Yes.
think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and I like that. It brings attention to the fact that we all do think differently. And there's gift in that. Like, oh my God, can you think if everybody thought the exact same way? Where we would be? But that's why we
Um,
have the brilliance
the
of all these
minions.
different minds. Exactly.
Yeah. Let's say I was signing up for this course, The Art of Neurodivergence. What could I expect? What would
So
I gain? Or, yeah.
typically, what I do is when we go to promote the class, the idea is that it's a way to express yourself in an environment free of judgment, free of negativity. It allows
Hmm.
you freedom of movement. There's
Mask
enough.
free safe zone.
That's excellent. Yeah, I like the terminology, um, because that's what we try to promote it as. The space that we use is great in that it's big enough that people can get up, you can move, you can walk. If you need to bring your fidget spinner, if you need to bring your stuffed animal, you do that. And there's a level of social interaction that I think tends to allow people freedom of, like, it's okay if I don't say anything. It's okay if I sit, I'm creating. And then there's
Hmm.
an ask at the end to share, if people are comfortable. And I always encourage them to because, it's a judgment free zone. So being able to do that. And what's been cool is when people sign up for a couple of them together. So they're individual classes, and if you sign up for a couple, I've had people who have come back, and it's kind of cool because then we know that, and they know each other, and we've done activities where it's like, okay, tell us a little bit about what you see in that person. And it's interesting to, have them comment on each other. And it's typically one that's very supportive and very like, all focused on positive, right? Not on the deficit. It's about the strength. So they get to do that. Some
Yeah.
people may feel it's a little costly of an investment. It's runs about $55, but that covers all the costs of all the art supplies. So, we use the best paints, brushes,
Oh, and
easels.
so this is in person.
Yes.
Okay, so I also want to bring up this book again because the anxious generation talks about how the screen time has lessened our social attunement time, right? Since we can
Okay.
socialize asynchronously, now we
Right.
no longer need to socialize face to face, but in doing that, we've lost something. I know that for many neurodivergents or just like people with disabilities or I don't know, like people in general, it's
Yes.
so hard to trust that you're going to come into a space that is actually accepting.
Right.
And yeah, so
Right.
sorry, I lost myself there, but I don't know, I got really excited about something.
Because it's in person, and that was part of it too.
Yes,
And, I understand, and there is
that is
value.
more beneficial. The research suggests
Right.
that that
Right.
is.
And the other part of that too, in the work that we do, is also promoting like gender expression, right? Trans individuals, people who express themselves in ways that are not typically accepted. Again, promoted as come as you are, be who you are. This is a
Mhm.
space where this is accepting, and you can be who you are. There is no judgment here. And try to really kind of focus in on that and promote that.
Yeah, that attunement piece is really strong.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Amazing. I'm so glad that I asked that question and then we narrowed down on that. So, okay, so since
Absolutely.
this is an in-person class, let's again, where are you from? Where are you based?
So it's in like the Buffalo area. Right now,
Awesome.
the class that we do is
Buffalo, New
in
York.
East Amherst area specifically.
Cool.
So it's actually it's a wellness studio that does
Mhm.
yoga and things like that. So it aligns with the idea of, wholeness and you know,
Multimodal support.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Actually, I live in a really rural area in Connecticut, and even we have a little I don't know exactly what they're called, but I think they're like a wellness clinic too. They've got like yoga and therapy, and I think they're doing like acupuncture now, and it's just like
Okay.
a growing space, and there's always pride flags, and I'm just like, bless you guys. We
That's
need to get
awesome.
you some security.
Yes, and Sarah, it may be possible, that again, the woman I work with, we could do it over Zoom. So it could be something that we did bring to, and that's a really great idea. Thank you for that, because
You're
now I'm
welcome.
thinking like maybe in the fall there's a way to offer it online, which would be kind of cool. Because I myself in my practice work with people that are not local always to get to in-person events.
Yeah. I mean, it would obviously be really difficult to supply art stuff, but maybe you supply printout sheets of like I've been doing these things like paint a cozy bathroom and then imagine myself being there. And so
Oh,
this
very
is my
cool.
cozy bathroom. And just the whole time I colored it in, I was thinking about like how nice it would be to sit in the bath and look out this window. And,
Very
it
cool.
was really a nice way to get through my day.
That's very cool. And, a lot of times it could just be, I know that in working with Sophie, there's materials like just have markers or colored pencils, right? Simple stuff
I
that you
love
can
my
use.
scented sparkly gel pens.
Oh, there you go.
The
Okay.
somatic experience of scented art supplies is super cool for me, but I know not all my neurodivergent friends like scented stuff, so
Right. Right.
whatevs. Go
Yeah.
get excited
Yeah.
about
Cool.
something else.
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you for that idea.
Yeah.
I think it's going to help me. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. Yeah, if you have any questions about like how to, I don't know, we can talk about it later off air. Awesome. How can people reach out to you? Where would you prefer Yeah, where would you prefer people reach out to you, and how can people look at what you're doing right now on the internet?
I'm not a super techie person, Sarah. I'll be totally upfront. I do have a website, and they can go to my
Awesome.
website. They can reach out to me via the website. There's a way to contact me through my email, and
Okay.
I try to keep information up there as best I can. I haven't yet been able to put up a page about the art of neurodivergence yet. Sounds like a really good idea to get that going. I'm also on Facebook, so they can reach out to me on Facebook. I usually
That
do.
can be really easy.
Yeah, I post the class on Facebook, so they can definitely reach out to me that way. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, or my phone number I put out there too. They can text me. That's fine too. Also, Psychology Today. I have an ad within that, so they can, look up if they're looking up autism. Usually, I will
Mhm.
pop up in New York State,
Awesome.
so could be a good avenue.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't have to be everywhere. I think it's so much work and for no reason, because not
Yes.
every audience is going to want to engage. So, anyway, I think what you're doing makes a lot of sense. It's a great sustainable way to like protect your energy and protect your business. And, eventually, like you'll attain skills and like there will be new tools that make things easier. Yeah. And there's going to be people that like are meeting you where you are now. So, that's super cool.
Right, and word of mouth, right? I think that's one of the
Not
biggest things.
dead. Yeah. It's
No,
not dead.
absolutely not. A lot of the people, especially in my area, that's how they connect is they heard it from somebody else who heard it from somebody else. So, that's to me,
Interesting.
that's the
Actually,
best.
that's also consistent with the research that suggests that, like, when diagnosis starts to grow in an area, the resources also start to grow in the area because, like, people are just generally more aware and they start gravitating towards each other.
Yes.
So I love that they have a little network.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. And, one of the other things I'll just throw in that I do that I think is important, Sarah, is, I also try to put support out there for parents and caregivers who have adult children who are neurodivergent because a lot of them are still at home and still being supported. And that's something I also try to put effort into connecting because, back during my
Yeah.
time period, there was not,
No support.
yeah, I don't want to say none because I'm sure there was some somewhere, but there
Some
was
support groups that you could meet with in person, but
somewhere, but not readily known, right? So I
and
try to really
certainly not
look at.
online.
Oh no, not online. No, that's usually not the case.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing where things are now, that it's possible to just get on a call and talk
Yes,
to a stranger.
exactly from like another country or another city or state,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
totally.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, my last question for you is going
Okay.
to be from the confidence boosting deck of
Okay.
this
Love
company
it.
called We're Not Really Strangers. They do like conversation cards. I just hate coming up with examples.
Okay. No worries.
Why
Sounds
did I
great.
choose to interview people? I don't know. Just kidding. I'm a naturally curious person,
Sure.
so it's usually fine. Okay.
Well,
What do we got here? Amazing. I have never asked someone this question yet, so I'm super excited.
okay. Bring it on.
Who inspires you, and in what ways are you like them?
Ooh,
Yeah. Take a moment. Everybody does.
that's a big question. This may sound very, I don't know, corny, I guess. I don't know, but everybody I meet inspires me. I mean, I try to live the experience of every person I meet has something for me to learn. And so it's about paying attention to that.
Mhm.
And it can be a person, it can be, you know, it can be a tree in nature, it could be a flower, it could be a plant, it could be the wind. It's really, those are the teachers and those are the people that inspire me, with messages that are always coming.
Mhm.
So, I don't want to pinpoint anyone in particular because I don't
I
want to diminish
understand,
anything else.
but I do understand what you're saying. I think for me, my ability to like stop and notice stuff has changed over time. But definitely where I'm at now, I'm able to, yeah, really sort of look for the baby in the bathwater all the time.
Sure, sure. And I think the most
I love
important
that.
in that inspiration person, where I'm at in my life right now, the other the other is me, right? It's my internal self
Yes.
that I don't know, right? The internal self that I don't know yet that I'm still continuing to discover. I think I would use the word my soul teaches me and it inspires me to learn more about it.
Beautiful. That's amazing. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that question. That was, yeah.
I know that
Well,
was surprising.
that
Very
was.
good.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to enjoy the rain here today and probably go color some. We have learned so much, I think, in the last 5 years. There's been a lot of change for better or
Yes.
worse.
Yes.
And so I think the fact that we're all trying to like hang on to each other now is so awesome and beautiful. And
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So
So cool to
thank you
watch.
so much for being here, Patty.
Thank you for asking me. And this, wow. Thank you. And thank you to going to not remember her name,
JQ, my co-host.
JQ, who connected us. I think that's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Mhm. Thanks for being here. If you want to connect with the Neurodivergent Report, you can find us at ND Report Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Substack, etc.
If you're looking to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Please do that.
And hey, if you want to check out more about us, visit our website at ndreportpod.com. And you can also go there if you want to be a guest contributor on the show.
Till next time, be well, do good.